I hope you all had a tremendous holiday. I hope that you are happy and positive going into 2026, and just, Happy New Year to you and your family. And I'm wishing prosperity, health, wellness, all of the love and things that you can possibly hold in your heart and in your hands for the year to come. And that, you stepping into 2026. So I'm wishing you nothing but the best. And more importantly, I'm thanking you for showing up and hanging out with me. It's been so nuts to watch this page, like to jump back in it, and this community kind of develop and grow and whatnot. And I'm really taken aback by what can happen in a year. And so we'll do a 2025 recap to just go over those things. But of course, it's only right that I make sure that I say thank you before I step into any conversation that I'm hoping to have in today. And we're going to start off with Cardi and Stefon. So I'm going to try to do this from a perspective of I'm just projecting, right? So there's no such thing as there's a right or a wrong answer. This is just dialogue, and I'm going to call this my hypervigilance can't take that, right? So y'all know I'm doing my psych classes. I'm getting very familiar with who I am. It's a lot of cognitive development, right? And it's very intentional, right? And I want to make sure that I recognize that when I'm having these conversations from a place, it's important to know, again, that I can always be wrong about something. And you can interject, you can feel free to have an opinion, disagree, and all these other things. The only thing I ask is that you be respectful, because we're culminating a space that is safe for rhetoric, dialogue, perspectives, and not about who's right and who's wrong. So you come in here, you acting crazy, you getting full BTA. So with that being said, let's get into the Cardi and Stef thing. Now, I would say this, y'all, for the most part, y'all would know I am a fan of Cardi, right? Like, this is not to, that don't mean she's above reproach, right? Like, that don't mean that, there's not things that she can't do better, anything like that. But overall, I really like her as a person. I think she's funny as fuck. I think she's dope. I think she's all of the things, right? And I want to have this conversation from a perspective of, if I were on the team, right? Not different than how I've approached the Glorilla conversation, right? The Meg conversation. Like, if I was your mans, if I was talking to you and trying to give you some advice, like, here's how it goes. So I'm gonna tell y'all full stop. Like, my people, they say crazy stuff about me. Like, like I've been told that I could be judgmental. I've been told that I could be aggressive. And there was a part of me that was really like contending that, like, nah, y'all tripping. Like, I'm not any of those things. But the truth of the matter is that my hypervigilance can very much look like judging somebody, right? Because if you look or move a certain type of way, like, I'm a sidestep you a little bit, like, nah, I don't know about that. And that can be judgmental or be perceived as judgmental. So even though it's not coming from that negatively connotated space, doesn't mean that that's not what's going on, right? Like, had somebody, tell me, like, well, they didn't tell me, they told a friend. That's a whole nother story. But like, she could be aggressive, and right? And it came down to the fact that, like, they didn't want to tell me something that they was doing with somebody else because they didn't want to hear what I might have to say as an opinion, because I'm the person, I don't think that I'm judgmental or aggressive. I think that I'm confrontational, and not in the sense that I'm argumentative, because that's also different, but I'm confrontational in the sense that, like, if something going on, if something's an issue, you can talk to me. If you don't want to talk about it, don't bring it up. And if you're not open to my full and total honest perspective, then I'm not going to push. That doesn't mean that I'm coming across mean or anything like that, but it sometimes is hard to hear things where it's just like, like, I thought that was foolish. I thought that was a misstep. I thought that you could have handled that better. People, it don't matter how you say that. Sometimes people hear the adverse statement behind it, right? Like, it's still just like, yeah, nah, you could have did that better. And it lands kind of wrong. But all in all, here's how I would talk to shorty. Right, so one of the big things about this whole thing with Stefon and the baby mamas and the babies and whatnot, there's a reality where it's very clear that bro got a preference. All of them look the same. Not trying to be mean, you could talk about who's the best, who's the this, that, and the other, but they all structurally, they the same type of shorty. Even down to this new joint that came out with the in-home chef or the private chef or whatever. And like, there's pictures of her now floating around to suggest, like, and I'm like, oh no, it's another, like, it's another Cardi prototype, right? Like, and I'm not saying that all of them are aspiring to be like Cardi, but there is a specific prototype of, a Latin or an exotic vixen, if you will, right? Like that's the physique that he's going for. So here's what I will say, that if it were me, I don't think that, let me not jump in for, what I will say is that he the type of person, and I see people saying stuff like, oh, she might as well stay with Offset. Being with another shitty person is not justification to stay with an old shitty person. That's just my take. I think that it's very disingenuous for folks to be like, yo, she might as well have stayed where she was at. She should have made her family work and all that other stuff. Yo, chill out with all of that. That's stupid. It wasn't cool. It wasn't going well. If it wasn't working and she wasn't okay, she didn't need to stay there. And to act as though people come out of one relationship and jump straight into another one, this is not a Tyler Perry movie. This is not Disney or DreamWorks. It don't happen like that. So I don't think that that's very sincere of people to try to make that argument or take that position as a factual one. She ain't need to stay with Seth if she ain't want to stay with Seth. Full stop. I will say too, I was entertaining this idea that I believe she was really on some, I'm cool with having a kid so that she could draw the line in the sand, that son would kind of like leave her alone. I was entertaining that idea. Like I felt like she did it almost, not to say that she did it on purpose per se, but that she was cool with going forward because she's like, yeah, if I do this, he'll probably, like, talking about Seth in particular, Seth will probably like disappear. Like he'll probably fall back, want to be done. Like enough is enough, we're done. Like, but now I'm starting to look at it from a perspective of like, now I think Stefon is just in the business of planting seeds and making his little like, his kind of like exotic baby army. I think that his draw, right? Like his thing is romanticism. Like really creating an experience of it's just me and you, it's just us. Because you know, one of the things that was ringing off in my brain when the text messages came out from the chef, it's like, yo, I'm out of this circus. You told me you was gonna do this for me. You told me. And I immediately thought about when Cardi was like, yo, you know, like I was talking about I wanted to see these castles. You know, this man rented it.
This man got me in a castle. I'm talking a real castle.
This is my movie.
You sit all the way over at the end while I stare at you.
Look how beautiful. This man is so adventurous. He got us in a fucking castle. Like, look at this. Like, I can't believe we staying in some place like this. This is insane. Gee.
And I thought about like, yo, it's a lot of dudes, like regular dudes, that don't have the means or the resources to invest that much in the antics, but they do stuff like this. And I don't want to make this a moment about bashing him, but what I want to make it a moment about is like Cardi paying attention to like what her mirror actually is. We oftentimes kind of get into dynamics with dudes or with people. I'm speaking like projected from myself, right? So we'll get into dynamics with people, and a lot of times we be thinking about how they present on the surface, and we might perceive it as a through and through representation of who they are, and that particular attribute means that they're this sort of person, right? And my perspective, right, is that she might have looked at him and seen him as a football player, because I think she made comments about it where it's like, yo, you know, as entertainers, we take for granted that like athletes really be getting up in the wee hours of the morning, like, and they go and they work out and they this and they eat a certain way and all this other stuff. This is also why he's not shooting no blanks, because boy is healthy. And yeah, I think that when she saw that, she saw willpower, she saw discipline, which is something that you would make the argument that she might not have seen in her ex or soon to be ex, because you know they ain't quite get there yet. And what I would encourage her to pay attention to, again, if I was to speak to her that as like as a friend, was that you gotta be mindful that sometimes when you're looking at somebody on the surface, you can't assume what that presentation means in the long run, right? And sometimes what you're looking at and what you are adorning can be a reflection of yourself that you didn't really realize was a reflection of yourself, right? Because sometimes we look at people and we might aspire to certain things, like, right, he get up, he work out, he do this, he do that. And it may aspire you or inspire you to show up a bit more effective and go a little bit harder. Like, y'all don't go hard enough because watch how he move. But what you're not paying attention to, right, is that his focus, again, my perspective, his focus is to be the best, right? And I would make the argument that Cardi's perspective is also actually she want to be the best. This is the thing that y'all have in common, that y'all actually attract one another to, right? Like, this is the mirror that he's holding up that you like. But I think that where we make the mistake is that attributes exist in spectrums, right? So the person that aspires to be the best can go from empath to narcissist the same way, right? Like, people that want to be the best at everything, like perfectionism or going really hard, hypervigilance, can look very different. Sometimes it looks like I'm showing up like this every single day because I can't let my family down. And then in other instances, it's like I'm showing up like this every day because ain't nobody going to beat me to it. And sometimes we think that it's not always a bad thing, but it might not necessarily mean the same thing, right? Like, so I believe, and this is just based on what's being presented. Like, yo, Cardi B, we watch her. Like, when we see her do her events and all that other stuff, like her crib, dead ass, like on the holidays, be like the typical Dominican family parties. Like, when I tell you I got plenty Dominican family, like family members, like they're not my real family, they're not my blood, but like, you go to their crib and they just like Cardi's crib. Like, no funny shit. Like, on the holidays, it's the same. The walls be sweaty. The kids be sleeping on the couch having a good time. And I'm like, yo, she's aspiring to be this person because she got family that she really want to take care of. On the other side of that, wanting to be the best, you got Stefon, who's coming off the injury, who was worried about what his life was going to turn into. But his aspirations to be the best is attached to his ego and his accessibility. Right? Again, just my perception. When you start to watch him and you like, yo, you really out here planting mad seeds in certain types of females. And I'm like, Then he went ahead and he posted, like, with all of this stuff that's coming out, he went and posted, like, being in a relationship with a Latina and loving it here. And I would never knock him, like, yo, you do what you do, bro. But there's also that connotation of, it's about the accessibility. And so what I'll say is that the fallout of what's happening with him makes sense, because this is a part of, because I'm this guy, because I'm him, right? Sound familiar, right? Like, because I'm him, or I'm Timothy Jones, if you will, I'm allowed to have access to all of these things. And I think that when we are looking at people in that mirror, in that inverse image, specifically a person like Cardi looking at him, you looking at the potential of that person. Because it's like, yo, if you took that discipline that you practice on the field, like, and practice and so on, this could manifest into all these things. And you watch him, like, yo, he's become, like, he's this entrepreneur that's also aspiring to do, like, clothing. Is it clothing? It's clothing and furniture, right? It's a big, like, he's spreading his wings. But what is his legacy attached to? What is his version of I'm the best attached to? Is it attached to empathy, or is it attached to ego? And really paying attention to, what will it cost me if I continue to participate in what he got going on? You see, with me and my hypervigilance, what would concern me is that I would make the argument that, you know, Cardi is the best out the picks, right? And I think that that's validating and that's important for us. That, like, y'all, I'm gonna be the best that you could get, because I think it's fair to say that most of us want to feel like we are the best option for the person that we end up with, where they look and they say, I couldn't have found better. The problem is that you kind of jumping into circumstances or situations where the remnants of who he's been with still exist. And so, yeah, measure for measure, pound for pound, we could look at it and say, yeah, like, if I had to pick anybody of the petite body Latina mixed breed vixen builds, like, I'm gonna pick the millionaire rapper chick. Why not? It makes sense. But that's the cost of external validation. And this is where you gotta be mindful. It's like, yo, sis, is your ego showing up the way his ego shows up? And is that the thing that you are breeding in this dynamic? Because what you don't want to do, at least again to me, you don't want to positively reinforce bad behaviors, right? Him having the option or being able to have access to a person like you validates that ego tripping and planting seeds wherever you want might actually be effective. Originally, this whole conversation was going to be about the careful curation of their dynamic, because I have been watching them hoist up this relationship, specifically like the Hollywood Unlocks. Even the Neighborhood Talk has kind of peeked in and so on, but they haven't shared as much. The Shade Room doesn't share and that sort of thing. But I watched them and I'm like, it's so interesting how they have plastered this thing, because I don't want to make the suggestion that this is entirely PR. I don't fully believe that. But what I see is that there is something that is untamed about that young man. I know a lot of people are trying to make the suggestion that bro is on the low and all that other stuff. I'm not putting that on nobody's badge. I personally, and this is another thing that I think is disingenuous, are we really gonna sit here and act like boy ain't fine as hell? Come on, bro. Like, and I'm saying this sincerely. Like, as a person that I would like to say that I'm pretty well disciplined and I keep my shit together. Like, boy's some wit. Like, come on. You see, even Finesse Two Times was like, he a handsome nigga, man.
Man, what's that nigga name who fuck everybody low, man? Man, I don't know the nigga name, man. The nigga handsome, man. He got braids, man. Shit. I hated the nigga DM my bitch. Well, I wouldn't hate it because it'd be a headache. But shit, I'd be bitchless. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man.
Boy is fine as hell, so I'm not mad at her by any means. And again, I feel like people are being very disingenuous about what's going on there. She's still very much a shorty from the Bronx that's come a long way. And I think that her perception or her self-perception of value has not caught up to her actual value, because I will be lying if I didn't say that she has created a brand around him so quickly that has been positive. But again, it comes with that very careful curation. That very intentional conversation that suggests that, yeah, nah, he's a good guy, he's this, and he's falling in line. So I want to give credit that bro might actually be trying to take steps or strides in the right direction. But I will say that my hypervigilance couldn't take that. You know, Tasha K ain't wasting no time with a smear campaign from the side. She running lateral. She's really, really running defense on boy right now. Like, yeah, there's another one that he ain't talking about that's pregnant right now, because she wants to highlight the fact that it ain't a situation where he was faithful while he was with, or when him and Cardi decided that they was going to do what she's already setting the stage to have a conversation. And I think that that is an important piece of stuff for Cardi to deal with. But what I will also acknowledge is that that is not a bitch that you're going to keep down. Not for real. If she could survive set, she could survive this situation. Because as a bitch that has been through some stuff with some niggas, bro, it don't never hurt as bad as the first time around. If she gonna move along, move aside, do her thing, and it's not gonna bother her, she's gonna be just fine. She's gonna be just fine. She's not about to let bro slow her down. And I don't think that she is in an abyss or aloof to what's going on. She's just very much like, we here, and
y'all need to calm down. Y'all need to calm down. Is y'all cool? Y'all been dragging me for 3 or 4 days. Y'all been a little bit too mean. Like, now. Y'all been a little bit too mean. I can't change shit. I can't go back in time. You know what I'm saying? I already had a baby. Y'all want me to put my baby back in my pussy? Huh? I don't know. What y'all want me to do? Y'all want me to leave my man and fuck yours? You want me to leave my man and just go and fuck yours? I don't know. What y'all want me to do? We can only go forward now. So, I don't know. 2026 is in a couple of days. I have so much work to do once January starts that it's stressing me out. I'm going to be away from my babies, away from my personal life, away from my home. I have to rehearse for 10 to 12 hours a day for tour. The productions that I'm missing for tour, I'm already super stressed out. You know what I'm saying? I'm already super stressed out. I need my support system, my fans to love me. I want y'all to come to my tour and enjoy yourself with me. Don't be dragging me. It's enough. All right? It's enough. I love y'all. I want good for y'all. I want good for y'all. I want health, money, prosperity, happiness for this new year for y'all. Wish me the same thing, all right? Leave me alone, though. Shit. Damn. Y'all scare me sometimes. Y'all a little bit too.
She getting on the internet. She not crashing out. I'm glad. I don't want her crashing out. I don't want her doing none of that. I want her to keep stepping forward the way she been stepping forward, because I like to see Mama Cardi, rapper Cardi, showing up and doing her big one Cardi. But I will say, to be fair to the context of what's happening around old boy, even with his brother, and his brother having this whole getting kicked off the Cowboys, and I'm like, these some handsome ass football players. Sorry, when they too thick, they too athletic, they too when they got too many positive marks on them, they get a little problematic. You understand? So like, I ain't gonna give her too much grief, but I will acknowledge that this ain't the type of situation that I got the capacity to deal with. So I'm rooting for her, and for the situation, I don't care. I'ma see Cardi in New York or in DC, depending on how I feel, and that's the beginning, middle, and end. But bro gotta definitely tighten up, because it's gonna hurt him way more than it's gonna hurt her. But I will say, again, if I was talking to her on some friendly shit, like, don't let your reputation take too many L's. You don't need that type of stuff in your life. You can't get hit with too many smears before it's just too much to bounce back from. And I wanna encourage that. Be intentional, keep moving forward, and it'll be all right. And y'all stop acting like y'all ain't been there before. We all done fucked with somebody we ain't had no, because he was fine as hell. You know, we all get dizzy when a nigga look good. Stop being annoying. But I'll see y'all the next one. Bye.